The 1960s was a revolutionary decade in human history. Global conflicts and new ideas spread across civilization. Pop culture responded in kind. In the realm of science fiction, television would become even more influential than ever. The decade would instill some of the most iconic figures of the genre, as well as shows that continue to leave their impact to this day. The crew of the USS Giant Freakin' Robot booted up the archives and put together the 1960s science fiction TV shows still worth watching. And if you watch this channel and can't guess what we're starting with, you might be as smart as Spock's brain. The episode, not Spock's actual brain. Star Trek: The Original Series was conceived by creator Gene Roddenberry as Wagon Train to the Stars, a Western riff on interstellar exploration. The premise features a diverse crew of characters, including everyone's favorite ultra-logical alien, seeking out strange new worlds, new life, and new civilizations. Those adventures would include President Abraham Lincoln, giant green hands, salt vampires, and the strangest creature in all of the galaxy, a tiny Clint Howard. For all of its memorable special effects and beloved fictional world, the most impressive thing about Star Trek is the rapport of the crew. Watching Kirk, Spock, and McCoy wrestle over weekly moral dilemmas was enough to make us think a better future for humanity was actually possible. From troubling tribbles to cagey Klingons, it's fair to say that Star Trek is the most influential science fiction TV series of the 1960s, and arguably the biggest sci-fi game changer in television history. What if Gilligan's Island took place in space and replaced Mr. Howell with a talking robot? That's the general vibe of Lost in Space, a sci-fi spin on the literary classic Swiss Family Robinson, even naming the family in the show Robinson. The Robinson family gets lost in space after a failed attempt to colonize the stars. After their ship is sabotaged by a secret villain who gets stuck on board, this intrepid family must leave their own solar system far behind them as they try to survive the many dangers of the unknown. The stars of Lost in Space shine brighter than the ones the crew visits, but the real highlight of the show is the performance from Guy Williams, the Dr. Robinson actor who retired when this show was canceled. But if there's one thing everyone always remembers from this classic series, it's this line from one of TV's most beloved robots.
Danger, Will Robinson! Danger!
Still going over half a century later, this beloved series started all the way back in 1963. In Doctor Who, we follow the misadventures of a Time Lord and his companions as they explore both everywhere and every when, righting wrongs and introducing a bit of whimsy into a galaxy full of danger. Unfortunately, our protagonist keeps running into the fiercest foes of past, present, and future.
Moisturize me! Moisturize me!
Unless he can stop them, both he and humanity will be history.
Everything has its time and everything dies.
With respect to Doctor Who's many talented lead performers, the best thing about this show is its infinite storytelling potential. Viewers never know when or where the next adventure will take them, making each arc feel like a fresh and original sci-fi film. Remember, kids, if you don't like the current Doctor, a new one is always just a few seasons away.
Good to know my future is in safe hands.
It kicked off the superhero boom of the 60s, turned Hanna-Barbera into one of the most successful animation studios in history, and gave the world an iconic superhero. Space Ghost has got to be one of the best sci-fi shows of the 1960s. Armed with his advanced belt and power bands, Space Ghost patrols the galaxy, fighting evil alongside his teen sidekicks Jan and Jace, and their pet monkey, Bleep. Every episode actually gives you 2 adventures to look forward to. The series is a ton of fun despite its simplicity, thanks to the bright, bold animation and our hero taking everything super seriously, no matter how goofy the villains get.
And since the Collector collected my power bands and your Inviso belts, we don't stand much of a chance.
It's so corny and earnest that Cartoon Network managed to pay homage to the classic adventures and parody them at the same time with the mock talk show Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Also visiting tonight is my granddad, all the way from Boca Raton.
Sunshine State, ooh yeah!
But if the original wasn't so endearing and beloved, the parody never would have become a cult classic.
Hold it down, you two.
Project Fantastic Voyage.
In 1966, Fantastic Voyage became the best sci-fi film of all time about exploring the inside of the human body. But what most people have forgotten is that there was an animated series. Released in 1968, the animated Fantastic Voyage used the movie's miniaturization to show scientists saving the world from aliens, wizards, and robots every Saturday morning. In The Mind of the Master episode, the cartoon's crew goes inside one of their fallen colleagues to perform surgery from the inside. And just like the film, there's a traitor among them.
Of course, I should have guessed.
Yes, it is I.
Fantastic Voyage came decades before other movies like RoboCop and Rambo were turned into cartoons. On its own, it's a fun sci-fi romp that shouldn't be forgotten today. Japan's greatest superhero sci-fi franchise can be none other than the iconic Ultraman, who first debuted in 1966 and has starred in countless films, shows, video games, and manga ever since. The original series focuses on the Science Patrol defending Japan from kaiju. Secretly, one of the members bonds with a benevolent alien to become the superhero Ultraman. Every episode plays out like the best parts of a classic kaiju film, featuring some of the most inventive monster villains in sci-fi history, and everyone loves watching giant monster fights. Ultraman 66 is so good, it created a billion-dollar franchise beloved around the world today. And it's especially a must-watch for everyone who wants to see where Pacific Rim got it all from.
Johnny Quest.
Fans of the Venture Brothers owe it to themselves to revisit Johnny Quest, the sci-fi adventure cartoon that directly inspired the outlandish Adult Swim series. Channeling energy from radio serials and adventure comics of its time, Johnny Quest follows its titular character and his scientist father, Dr. Benton Quest, on dangerous missions around the world as they fight off mysterious creatures, mad scientists, and other high-stakes threats. Joining in on the action is their ever-resourceful bodyguard, Race Bannon, Johnny's mischievous dog, Bandit, and his best friend and adoptive brother, Haji Singh.
Hey, wait!
What is it, Haji?
Look! That village over there!
Known for its wildly imaginative villains, revolutionary animation ideas, and Race Bannon's ever-present status as a certified badass, Johnny Quest holds up thanks to its strong characters and the conflicts that they face. Yes, there are plenty of outdated depictions of different peoples and cultures, but the show's spirit shines through even today. Johnny Quest is pure episodic 60s pulp sci-fi fun. Its replay value is immense, making it a series anyone can constantly revisit.
Get this bucket moving, Race!
Owning a giant robot that will obey every single one of your commands is the kind of childish wish fulfillment that will draw you directly to Gigantor, if you want to feel quicker than quick and stronger than strong. An Americanized reworking of the Japanese series that preceded it, Gigantor tells a simple story of a boy named Jimmy Sparks, who controls a giant robot that was originally designed for military applications, but has been reprogrammed to maintain peace. Jimmy's unwavering sense of optimism is admirable and never seems phoned in. He is championed for his willingness to stop global threats while fighting off villains who want to steal Gigantor and use him for their own nefarious reasons. There's no ulterior motive in Gigantor, and part of its charm is just how forward it is with its storytelling. Admittedly, the robot battles are clunky and the English dubs often fall out of sync, but at its heart, there's an epic story to be told about the ages-old battle between forces of good and evil. If you're looking for simple yet effective animation in all of its classic monochrome glory, larger-than-life battle sequences, and a hero's journey that has zero fat, Gigantor is the retro-futuristic sci-fi cartoon that you don't want to sleep on. There is nothing wrong with your screen. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. The Outer Limits is now controlling transmission, and you are about to participate in a great adventure. Often unfairly compared to the more whimsical The Twilight Zone, The Outer Limits is not a show primarily concerned with the fantastical and supernatural. Instead, each episode is a tightly wound piece of tense science fiction horror. Tackling concepts like mind control, misusing technology and the consequences that follow, and a variety of monsters from both outer and inner space, The Outer Limits places its focus on the human condition and how we grapple with the unknown to the best of our abilities with the resources we have. While the creature effects are impressive for the time and certainly memorable, you'll find yourself most enthralled by the philosophical questions that The Outer Limits raises. From the ethical quandaries surrounding government overreach and the application of artificial intelligence to the paranoia that rightfully follows, The Outer Limits doesn't just inform its audience of its moral dilemmas. It forces them to uncomfortably sit with them long after the credits roll. As entertaining as it is challenging to the status quo, The Outer Limits isn't light vintage sci-fi fare, but a startling look at humanity that's as prescient today as it was upon its original release. Though its first season is more successful with its stories than its second season, the entirety of The Outer Limits represents the most mature and complex science fiction storytelling in all of 1960s television. Witness the awe and mystery for yourself. Have you got some of your own favorite sci-fi shows from the 1960s? Got your favorite episodes from the shows we mentioned? Mine would be Nightmare from The Outer Limits. We want to hear from you in the comments. So get in there, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel for more videos from us here at Giant Freakin' Robot.